Hello everyone, and it is still, or again, Wednesday. So this is a second video for today. This is the not so whimsical whimsy Wednesday, because I want to talk about a more serious topic. I've started this video a few times, haven't liked how it's gone. Because I don't want to come across as like a know-it-all or anything, because I'm not. I just have some opinions, some thoughts, and some experiences. So I want to talk about something that's been coming up on a few different platforms, videos, social media, some blogging. And while I, in general, support the concept behind it, there are some specifics that I feel people need to be aware of, and some exceptions to the acceptability. There's a phrase. Spell those E's and A's. Okay, so what am I talking about? Polyester. As I shake my head. So polyester and other synthetics as a costuming material. Okay, so the concept is that in some cases polyester or other materials might be less expensive than 100% silk or 100% wool, because those materials can be pricey. They can be very pricey in some cases. And the theory is that in general, polyesters and alternate materials can be less expensive. So by using a less expensive material, costuming in general becomes more inclusive and can allow those that don't have quite as much money to participate, which is wonderful. I started out in living history, historical living history, as like a museum person when I was little. My family did not have a lot of money, so everything that I originally wore belonged to the museum. When I started working there, I wore the museum's clothes and learned I needed to sew to have my own clothes, because I couldn't afford to buy clothes. And I did use what I could get my hands on. So yes, I have used modern materials in the past. There was a all-nighter dress. I wanted a pretty ball gown. And so I used flounces of pink and white polyester lace, and I applied them over cotton. Cute dress. Historically got issues, but did it in a night. Didn't know a lot at the time. Loved the dress. Frankly, I looked adorable in it. I was so much smaller then. Would I choose to wear that now? Even beyond the fit issues? No, I would not. There was also a washable wash dress, work dress. Note, work dress is not a period phrase, nor technically is wash dress. So we're going to go with a dress for laboring in, that I had made out of a poly cotton blend, little check. This was one of those very early on dresses. Made that up. I think I only wore it a couple of times and then stuffed it away. This will come back into play later. And then I started learning what was more appropriate in terms of fibers. So yes, been there. You know what it's like not having a lot of money in college, didn't have a lot of money growing up. There's been points where I've been plumb broke and still tried to continue on doing this. So I do know some tricks to getting things at a very cost-effective way, and I am happy to share those. I think that's important. But but let's get back to where I was really trying to go with this. Okay, so using polyester and other synthetics as a main costuming material. And when I say main costuming material, I mean your fabrics for your dresses and all of your underlayers and outerwear. Depending on what your goals are, polyester and other materials can fit very nicely. If you are solely focused on making beautiful clothes, go for it. If you are doing social events, where you'll be dressed for a few hours at a time in an air-conditioned hotel room, go for it. Socials, balls, teas, that sort of thing. It's perfectly safe to choose other fabrics if they meet your goals. Goals is a big thing for me. I've worked really hard at accepting that my goals are not your goals. And I need to be perfectly okay with your goals. And I would hope you're okay with my goals. And that goes in both directions. Okay? So my goals are very education focused. Someone else's goals may be very socially focused. Yet someone else's goals may be very, very authenticity and experience focused. Everyone has different goals. Those goals are going to determine what you're using in terms of materials and techniques. So there are pools of those goals where synthetic materials are just not safe. What am I talking about? Pretty much comes down to two things in my mind: fire safety, heat safety. Well, I'll say weather safety. So most of us know that polyester and nylon will melt. Cotton, silk, wool will either self-extinguish, not catch on fire as quickly, or slowly burn. The big factor to me is knowing that polyester and nylon can melt as it burns your skin and causes such a much worse burn. So there was an event, it was a field event, many years ago at this point. It was very muddy. Oh, it was so muddy. It was a mess. And a couple like knolls back into the field, there was a fire. Tent caught fire, dress caught fire, and the petticoats melted to the woman's legs. And the ambulance had to get back, through all the mud to get to her. And it's not someone I knew personally, just someone I was aware of. Can't even say an acquaintance. I don't even know if he'd ever had a conversation. But just knowing the pain that someone was in at that event, because the petticoats, it was from what I understand, just the petticoats. It wasn't even the exterior fabric. So they ignited and they melted to her. So my plea to number one is, please, if you're going to be at a historic site doing historic activities, do not wear any of your layers that are polyester, nylon, and any of the synthetics. Stick to the natural fibers. So this goes for the dress, the petticoats, your cage / hoops, your outerwear, your corset. Okay. I'll admit, my first corsets were from Fredericks, and those have their own nightmares. They're synthetic. They had cheap metal boning. I still have a scar in my back from them. Yeah, I have nothing nice to say about those. They I'm sure, lovely, modern, fun pieces. No, not appropriate for a historical setting. So the other aspect, heat and weather. Remember how I said I had made that poly cotton dress? Well, skip ahead a few years, few years. I've been spending my summer at a summer camp. So basically we're talking no air conditioning. I was out in the elements, whatever they were, and let me tell you, there were a lot. The heat, the cold, the wind, the rain, the crazy, crazy mess of it. So I was literally going from summer camp for several weeks to a weekend event. And it was quickly run home, grab the dresses that I needed, and go. And I grabbed the wrong dress because I happened to have two that were very similar. Similar colors, similar pattern, totally different fibers. I grabbed the poly cotton dress. That is how I met the EMTs that weekend. It was hot. It was July in New York, so we're talking low, mid-90s maybe. I can tell you it wasn't anywhere near one of the record heats that we'd had. And so I'm in my dress. You know, I felt a little weird. Like maybe I should go lay down. When I went and laid down, everything started spinning. And I managed to stand up, get to the edge of the tent, call for help, and I was gone. I was out. Two friends at the time carried me to first aid. Met the local EMTs. Yeah. So basically, your synthetics, even when they're a blend, are not going to breathe the way cotton or wool will. I did say cotton or wool because silk can be tough. I, in general, discourage silk when the temperatures get up there for here. I'd rather see you in wool or cotton. And when I say cotton, I'm thinking shirting and shears. Been doing this for a while. There's fabrics I won't wear that are natural too. Yes, I'll wear silk. No, I won't wear heavier cottons. It's a thing. I like to breathe. But those are my two big things, are the heat and the fire. So this is my PSA pleading. Please, please, please think about your goals. And please, please, please do not wear synthetics at historic sites and for historic activities. You know what I'm going to add in there? Parades. Okay, here's the deal with parades. You're on blacktop. You're on a road. It's a holiday, usually. There's very little shade. If you are in a synthetic garment, you have the heat coming up from the ground. You have heat coming from your body. It's not going anywhere. And honestly, you want to show off your best. So if you happen to have appropriate natural fibers, that is by far the better choice. I'm worried that did not sound inclusive. I want you to be safe. That's the big, big goal here. Okay, how about I put it this way? I would rather you, A, borrow something from someone else, B, watch, instead of trying to march in a parade in a synthetic dress and passing out halfway through. That's what I want to say. I do have parade stories too. Hail, wind, broke a cage. Can tell you that marching into 40-mile-an-hour winds as a thunderstorm was rolling in, my cage broke before my straw bonnet came off my head. Actually, let's talk a little bit about millinery. Yes, I'm a straw person. I truly do believe straw breathes better than the vast majority of everything out there. But I would also like you to know that buckram covered with silk is going to breathe better than buckram covered with polyester or nylon. okay? Think about having this bonnet on your head. It's going to trap the heat that you've got going on back here. And again, if it's 90 some degrees, whether you're at a historic event or if you're at a parade, you need the heat to be able to escape. If you have a period correct bonnet on, you're going to have more body heat escaping. Honestly, if it's a very, very hot and sunny day, a sunbonnet is going to protect you so much more than a fashion bonnet. I know. That's why. That's why I'm not always the best marketing person for myself. I'll have new folks message me. Actually, I just recently had someone message me asking about a bonnet for a girlfriend or a spouse. And my first suggestion was, get a sunbonnet first. I would rather see you have a good sunbonnet first and be safe than do the big expense of a fashion bonnet while you're still trying to figure out some details. A sunbonnet is going to do so much more for you during a weekend event, especially if it gets really hot or if it starts to rain and you're miserable. A sunbonnet, you can hide in there. Okay? You can't hide in one of my straw bonnets. All right, so that just went in a completely different direction. All right, so to summarize, if it fits your goals, whatever your goals are, go ahead and use the materials you can afford. If you are at a historic site, doing a historic event, or doing a parade, please, please be safe and avoid synthetic materials for all of your layers, okay? Opt for your cottons, your wools, your silks, your linens, depending on your era. Those are the big things I want to say. Now I'm realizing I could do a whole video on my horror stories, like my corset scar, and bad choices that I've made. I could also probably do a whole video on saving money. I gotta tell you, I think I'm pretty decent at it. Yeah, I've spent more of my life poor, like working class poor, like right on that edge, than I have, like, you know, regular working class. And I've done this hobby as a hobby, as a career, both ways. And I can make some ends meet, and I can get pretty creative, and I know where to find some goodies. So I could do a video on that. Give me a little feedback if you'd like to see either of those, and I'll figure out where they'll fit. I guess that's all for now. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. Any questions? Let me know. Any feedback? Let me know. If you want to yell at me, go ahead and yell at me. I'm a big girl. I can take it. Now that I said that, I'm not so sure. Yeah. And everyone else but Clara and I, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Clara will be watching the rain. I will be taking the migraine medicine and finishing out the week. Bye all.